Call to order the Marshall City Council regular meeting for October 6, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Here.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Here.
Member Gates. Member Hackworth. Member Skibby.
Here.
Member Craig.
Here.
And Member Underhill.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Scott is unable to join us this evening, so I will ask council to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That moves us to approval of agenda. Item 6 is public comment on agenda items. Item 7 is our consent agenda. Item 8 is presentation and recognition. We have none tonight. We have no informational items. We have no public hearings, no old business. Under item 12, reports and recommendations, we have item A, tax city support services agreement. Item B, water and sewer large meters, readiness to serve rate establishment. Item 12C, patrol vehicle purchase, police department. Item 12D, Chapter 92, Health and Sanitation Nuisances Ordinance Update. We have no appointments or elections under item 13. Item 14 is our public comment on non-agenda items. Item 15 is council and manager communications. Item 16 is our adjournment. Seek a motion regarding the agenda.
Can I make a motion to amend the agenda? I would like to move adjournment to item 17 and add a motion to move into closed session as item 16 pursuant to section 8E of the Open Meetings Act to consult with city attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, Committee for Marshall, not the Megasite versus City of Marshall, and Michelle Eubank, case number COA 369603 SC 167553, because open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the public body.
Thank you. Then I would seek a motion. Do I need to have a motion on the amendment or just no? We'll just seek a motion on the amended agenda.
I would move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support. Motion and support, and that's a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Brings us to public comment on agenda items. Persons addressing city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 3 minutes. Comments shall address agenda item topics. Public hearing items should be addressed during the public hearing portion. Item 10 of the meeting agenda, non-agenda items shall be addressed during the public comment non-agenda items, item 14 portion of the meeting agenda. Is there anyone wishing to address council this evening on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Barry Wayne Adams, 622 West Green Street. I want to thank the council for putting the Michigan Supreme Court issue on the agenda. Like we were saying right from the beginning, when the May 1st City Council failed to comply with the mandatory requirements of the PA 425 agreements that made the Joint Planning Commission the final say on the issue of rezoning of the property, it's coming out to be true. And in spite of all the lower court gaslighting, legalistic gaslighting, the Michigan Supreme Court, after considerable deliberation, actually vacated the entire Court of Appeals decision without having gone to hearing or briefing, and without the court granting leave to appeal. So the Michigan Supreme Court gave the Court of Appeals a do-over. The decision was so bad, there was no part of it that was worth retaining. And it must review it in the light of the basic issues of contract. When you make a contract and there are conditions in it, you have to perform to the conditions of the contract. If you don't, that contract becomes capable of being invalidated. And that's the way it is. And you should think about possible alternative uses for that thing that, you know, if the Court of Appeals comes back and is consistent with the Clam Lake Township decision and upholds the recommendation of the Joint Planning Commission as being the final decision as to how the zoning should have gone, it will revert back to that. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of dealing going on, but, you know, a lot of people just want it completely decommissioned, made into a natural meadow, a state park. A lot of people talk about state park, but the existing building could be used for producing a truly green material, hempcrete construction materials, the most superior construction materials we have.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Anyone else wishing to address council this evening on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Item 7A is city council minutes from our work session on September 15th, as well as our regular session on September 15th, 2025. 7B is city bills. We have had some considerable payouts this month because of tax collection. So we have purchases from September 12th, 2025 of $720,685.69. Purchases from September 19th, 2025 of $5,365.83. Purchases from September 23rd, 2025 of $1,030,742.93. Purchases from September 26th, 2025 of $4,244,863.44. We have our August power purchase of $1,107,073.50 for a grand total of $7,108,731.39. And then item 7C is a resolution for the CDBG Home Repair Grant Program. Seek a motion regarding the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support. A motion and support. So roll call vote, please.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Member Gates.
Yes.
Member Hackworth.
Yes.
Member Skibby.
Yes.
Member Traver. Member Underhill.
Yes.
And Mayor Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. It moves us all the way down to item 12A, the TAC and City Support Services Agreement, and City Manager Perry.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. First item for your consideration is 12A. It is a services agreement between the City of Marshall and the Transit Authority of Calhoun County. On October 1st, the city no longer receives transit funds from the state or the federal government. Those all now go to the County Transit Authority. However, they're not ready to assume the DART operations entirely. So what they've requested is that we continue as is, and then they would reimburse us dollar for dollar. And in order to effectuate that, we have an agreement before you for your consideration that would allow that. Ideally, it'll happen sooner rather than later, but it does have an end date of September of next year. Any questions? There are representatives from TAC here this evening. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions you have. but essentially it's a service agreement. City Attorney Revore has reviewed that with their legal counsel, so.
The only question I would have is, we don't, I assume, have any concerns about just cash flow in terms of the timing of reimbursements versus expenses on the city's part?
The shorter answer is no. We do have some reserves in that fund. And again, as soon as we incur those funds, every 30 days, we'll be sending off that invoice, and TAC has already started doing their millage collection. So we know that they have those funds available to reimburse us.
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone knows Mr. Tarkowitz, but perhaps Mallory would come up and like to come up and introduce herself.
Good evening. My name is Mallory Avis. I'm the Executive Director for the Transportation Authority of Calhoun County. To Mr. Perry's point, our intent would be to fully transfer all assets, employees over to the authority by July 1st of next year. At this point, we have all of the funding established. We're working through rebranding all of the assets. And then next we have to strategically transfer the employees without harming them in any way financially or with benefits.
Would there be any intentions to rebrand the Dial Ride buses before the 1st of July?
There would be, yes. Yep. And we have funds set aside from congressionally directed spending to fund the rebranding of those vehicles. Yep.
Any questions or comments? No?
You just mentioned you want to have it done before June 30th, July 1st. Do you have that's your longest, you got an idea of when you think the Marshall transition would happen, or is it just kind of up in the air? There's no way to know really.
I would say the July 1st date is our goal. If it happens sooner than that, that would be great, but we are aiming for July 1st.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Any comments, questions or discussion on, any further comments, question or discussion on item 12A? Then I would seek a motion.
I move that we approve the TAC City Support Services Agreement in substantial form and authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
A motion and support, and this is a voice vote. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to 12B, water and sewer large meters, readiness to serve rate establishment, and Director Davenport.
Good evening. As most of you know, we have two components of our water and sewer rates, both the commodity charge and the readiness to serve charge. Tonight, I'm talking strictly about the readiness to serve charge. This is the fixed rate that is charged monthly based on meter size for all of our users. Until recently, our largest meter in our service area was a 4-inch meter. And with our previous rate resolutions and settings that you have approved, we had rates up to 6-inch meters. However, today, we now have 10-inch meters in our system. And so we have done the work to, create a readiness to serve charge based on our current readiness to serve charges for the smaller meters for both an 8-inch and a 10-inch meter. And that's what I bring you tonight for approval, is both an 8-inch and 10-inch meter readiness to serve charge for both water and sewer. And these meters got put in service with development out at the major campus. And so we need to start recouping the appropriate fees for those size meters. I have a resolution included in the packet tonight with the rates outlined, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Go ahead.
I would just say, again, for emphasis for anyone listening, that this is not impacting residential customers at all. It's just these.
It's not impacting any current customer except for Blue Oval at the major campus.
Okay. And then the other question I had is if you can just tell us briefly how how these numbers are arrived at.
Yeah, certainly. So our readiness to serve charge is intended to be the cost for the utility to have water available at the door for all of our users, regardless of residential, commercial, industrial. To establish the rate for the larger meters, we took our current charges for smaller meters and we extrapolated those out on a graph, on a data plot, and calculated the rates that you have in your packet. As a check for that, we have what we call equivalent meter sizing, that basically takes meters and provides a ratio based on how much flow, water or sewer goes through them. We double checked in your packet, the memo there with our consultant has it calculated both ways, and they are both within right around the same amount. And so that's how we determined the dollar value, was taking that data extrapolation. You're welcome.
I know too, part of this, the readiness to serve is to ensure that we have, funds available for maintenance and, this is all new infrastructure, but it's also going to be expensive to maintain and expensive to repair when it comes time. So
Correct.
I appreciate that we're getting this in place right from the get-go.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments, or discussion? With that, I'd seek a motion on item 12B. Thank you.
Move we approve resolution 2025-25, resolution to update readiness to serve rates for water and sewer and authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
Second.
A motion and support, and so roll call vote, please.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Hackworth,
Yes.
Member Skibby,
Yes.
Member Traver, Member Underhill,
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger,
Yes.
and Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. Brings us to item 12C, patrol vehicle purchase for the police department, and Chief Lankert.
Honorable Mayor and Council, today we're here to talk about purchase of a patrol vehicle. The Marshall Police Department has planned our annual replacement. We're replacing 2021 hybrid with a 2026 hybrid Ford Explorer. So we did an assessment back in 2023, which looked at kind of like what are the savings using a hybrid versus a regular vehicle, gas vehicle, and found that it was significant savings. So I don't think those have changed any, with that review. So it was between $4,000 to $5,000 of annual fees every year. So the cost effectiveness was to go with the hybrid. Interesting enough, this year the hybrid is cheaper. $500 cheaper than it was last year. I think all the vehicles are cheaper. Of course, it's still the $200 more than the regular gas vehicle, but obviously we save on those savings. EV options, we did look at those again. We just don't have the infrastructure for those at this time, but we are going to look at those in the future for admin vehicles, kind of see where we can, when do we start that transition? But it's more of the infrastructural kind of questions first and get those answered before we can go down that road. Looking at the quotes, the My Deal quotes were received from Gorno Ford, which is the state bid that we have. The quote was for $51,285. And like I said, difference with $200 from the regular gas vehicle. The outfitting quote is a little bit higher. This year, we kind of did an assessment to find out how we wanted to incorporate our needs as a department. We have a couple specialty teams that we're a part of. We have an officer that's doing a lot of reconstruction accidents and helping out with reconstruction accidents, and we have a drone team and our drone. So looking at that, we're like, well, we probably should have a vehicle that houses that and can carry those items and protect those items for us. So we did look at that. That kind of increased our cost of outfitting the vehicle, which the outfitting cost was $37,317.62 for a total of those two, the vehicle and the outfitting of $88,802.62. All the quotes and everything were included in the packet for your review. Motor pool, makes annual payments. We all make annual payments to the motor pool fund. It's an internal service fund each department pays into for replacement of vehicles and build outs. This year, which I have to correct the numbers in the report, the numbers that I got in the report were a contributing amount, not the amount that's budgeted. The amount that's budgeted is 75,000. So that leaves $13,802.62 that we have to cover from our operating fund, if that makes sense. So in summary, we are making a suggestion for the hybrid with all those items that we need for outfitting the vehicle, for the drone, and for accident reconstruction. This also replaces the body cameras and all the updates, all the technology in the cars that we need every 5 years, that those things need to be replaced. So budget impact, again, we will, it's the $88,802.62 is what we're requesting for the purchase, which 75,000 would be from the budget of motor pool, and then the $13,802.62 would come out of our operating budget. So.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Any questions, comments, or discussion? No. I'll just say, I think it's great. I know that those, that first hybrid was a little bit of a question mark. I'm glad that it's worked out and proven itself reliable and efficient, as we expected it to be. So, pleased to continue purchasing that platform. So, if there's no further discussion, I will seek a motion regarding item 12C.
I move that we approve the purchase of the 2026 Ford Explorer Interceptor Hybrid Patrol Vehicle and Patrol Car Build Out for a total amount of $88,802.62.
And support, and this roll call vote, please.
Member Skibby.
Yes.
Member Traver.
Yes.
Member Underhill.
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Member Gates.
Yes.
And Member Hackworth.
Yes.
Next.
Moves us to item 12D, Chapter 92, Health and Sanitation, Nuisances Ordinance Update, and Chief Lankard still with us.
Okay. Item number 2 on my agenda here. The Marshall Police Department, on occasion, obviously, we're constantly looking to improve our operations and updating our processes to improve the services that we provide to our citizens. While reviewing our code enforcement operations, we identified a need to review Chapter 92, our Health and Safety and Nuisance Ordinance. Specifically, we wanted to update the ordinance to address specific issues we were seeing in the community, and had several months we've been looking at this and kind of dissecting it and trying to figure out like the best practices. What do we need to add to address those needs and concerns in the community, and also what is the best practice overall in code enforcement. So the following list, that we put this together with our city attorney Dave Ravor and our city prosecutor John Sullivan. So we reviewed this with staff as well and made these proposed changes to the ordinance. Now, there's a lot of them, so I'm just going to go through the list and kind of go over them. If you have any questions, let me know. We updated the definition of exterior to include porches, decks, balconies, landings, and other places which are not fully enclosed. We were seeing trash and different things being put on porches that were covered and didn't feel that the ordinance covered that. So we wanted to update that to kind of address those issues. Updated and expanded the definition of litter and junk. It was pretty broad. So we wanted to get a little bit more granular and identifying those things that we were seeing. So noxious weeds definition, we updated that. What we found is there's really 4 main ones that we kept, which is, like poison ivy, poison sumac, and a couple others. And then other communities had adopted the State Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture definitions of noxious weeds. So we said, well, let's just adopt that, and we'll keep the ones we have and adopt those as well. So it's kind of updated to where everybody else was at. So updated that, updated kind of our grass and weeds and undergrowth. We added developed and undeveloped into what the exceptions were to the ordinance, if that makes sense, and what the parameters were. With the language, the update it basically said that updated the grass and weeds and undergrowth over 8 inches exception. It included kind of the undeveloped and developed wooded areas. And it kind of gives some leeway to make sure that it's matching what the community standard is in that area, right? It gives some leeway for the ordinance officer to kind of look at that and say, yes, this fits the standard. Because there's some gray area and we got to have some way of, working that through. No may option was added, basically giving the option for council on an annual basis by resolution to vote for a no may exception no later than March 31st. So we added that in there. Undeveloped parcel requirements were updated and formalized. Residential parcels and or parcels that were contiguous to residential parcels need to maintain that 8 inches. And then non-residential parcels that are not continuous to residential parcels must maintain a 20-foot barrier around the road and curb area or property line. That was a kind of an informal process that we had in place, but it had not been formalized in the ordinance. So that was a practice that we were doing, but wasn't formalized in the ordinance. So we wanted to make sure that we updated that. Updated the definition of property to include adjacent property, public property right away. Just kind of want to clarify that, right? The right of way isn't included in that. We noticed that that can be sticky in some situations, so we just want to make sure we clarified that language in the ordinance. We updated that. Updated the nuisance definition to meet kind of best practices. Basically, it was more of the verbiage for enforcement. We noticed other communities had some language that was kind of fit it better, so we added some of that language. Removed conciliation conference section. We had in my years here, 20 some years, I don't think we've ever used that conciliation conference section because we look for compliance. So we're meeting with, when we have a notice and we give it to them, we talk to the residents, we're looking for compliance. That's kind of the conciliation conference there, right? We're working it out. We're making arrangements and if it gets to the court level, you have there's a process built in the court process, right? To kind of mediate that too as well. So we removed that section since it was pretty much not being used and didn't apply. An annual publication of abatement notice. We did notice that most communities have an annual publication requirement and give a notice of abatement. So we did add that to ours. We figured that's the best practice that needed to be added. So we added that. The written notice of abatement requirements, we reduced that from 5 days or 15 days to 5 days for compliance. That's in line with a lot of other communities. Ours is the 15 days is higher than any others that we even looked at. So some of them we've seen it like 3. So it varies, but we felt that 5 matched ours the best. The same thing with written notice of abatement requirements the abatement right to appeal response time reduced from 10 days to 5 days. So that same thing we just needed it was too long of a process, if that makes sense, to address things. And then lastly, the right to appeals process was updated and the appeals hearing process section was removed. Operationally, we had it set up where it didn't quite. We've never had to use it, first of all, and it didn't fit the needs of what we had established. And so using the court process, if somebody appeals, and we can issue them a citation, we can go to the court and we have the due process is already in there. So we removed that section as well, looking at it from a group standpoint. These ordinance updates will improve the operations of code enforcement and help to create best practices by staff. It was a long process, but we got it narrowed down best we could. It's a lot of change, but it was needed. So,
Thank you, Chief. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
So if you're on a city sidewalk and there's poison ivy between the sidewalk and the road, how does that fall into this?
If you're on the city sidewalk, that would be the right of way.
Right.
So that would be
fall under
If it's poison ivy, the,
Yeah.
the homeowner should be taking care of that.
Okay. And I don't know, I'm a little leery about, and that's just me, but I'm a little leery about invading people's porches, decks and balconies. I know there's been some issues, but I'm always a little leery about invading that personal space for people.
I agree.
Well, I would say, I mean, obviously appreciate property rights, but I think it can fit under the category of nuisance if you have somebody with their porch, that's visible from the road piled up with, trash or junk. And I think that can be detrimental to the, to the area and to their neighbors for sure.
And I guess that's what I'm clarifying, is that what we're talking about? You're right. If you drive by, and there's been some situations where you've driven by a house and there's literal trash bags stacked. But once again, where's that line? Because as I said, I'm a little leery of invading property rights. It's just, so I guess that's my only thing would be, what are we looking at?
So, the ordinance, the exterior means any area of property which is not fully enclosed and covered building except, except in refuge containers, in compliance with, chapter 50 of this. So exterior means porches, decks, balconies, landings, or other places that are not fully enclosed. What we are seeing is basically people putting trash and piling things on their porch that was open and falling off the porch and was a nuisance. That's what we're trying to address.
And to be clear, to make sure we're reading this correctly, so, and what's banned from those spaces is what's listed below, is that correct? So garbage, pests, like stuff that's going to attract, mice and moths and bugs, and then junk like trash, garbage, waste, paper, glass, bottles, tobacco products. So those are the kinds of things that are not permitted to be put on those porches.
Correct, yeah, litter goes through a whole list of things, but, yeah, and you got to remember too, like, there might be a reason. People have reasons for piling things on their porch, temporary things, and we work with residents to do that. But it's the long-term, like, I put my trash out there and I've had, 15 bikes hanging off and there's an accumulation. No, it's not like they're just storing something. It's a nuisance, and the best description I can provide.
So just to be clear what we're doing tonight, we are simply introducing the ordinance and scheduling the public hearing. So thought I'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Any further comments or discussion, questions?
I move that we introduce ordinance 2025-4, an ordinance amending City of Marshall Code of Ordinances, Chapter 92, Health and Sanitation Nuisance, publish a summary in the local newspaper and set a public hearing for October 20th, 2025.
Support. A motion to support. It's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Brings us to item 14, public comment on non-agenda items. Persons addressing the city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 2 minutes. Anyone wishing to address council this evening on non-agenda items? Yes, sir. Mr. Adams?
Mary Wayne Adams, 622 West Green Street. For everybody here, especially those in government.
Mr. Adams, please address council.
Mayor, tell these people that they should read Constitution, Fact or Fiction by Dr. Eugene Schroeder and the De facto Government of the United States by Charles Weisman. Very erudite analysis of our existing government. And this is something that you guys have gotten all caught up in. If you're oblivious to the information that's in here, which I expound upon on go to my YouTube channel if you don't like reading. And I explain this stuff. The YouTube channel's been up for 8 years. Not one hint of disclaimer of disinformation or misinformation. But we're seeing the clash of the level of malversation that attends to this sort of corrupting influence in government, in which government, business, and the military have been successfully merged into a system of cooperativism or corporate fascism. This is all historical stuff. And when it manifests as the creation of this money laundering network from SOAR trickling down through Michigan Strategic Fund, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDA, and then down to the various localities. These are manifestly unconstitutional, and luckily the state legislature is stopped the budget of the SOAR, so it's cut off the head of the snake. Your network is being dismantled.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Anyone else wishing to address council this evening on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening again. I wanted to make you aware of 2 community events that Ride Calhoun is hosting this month. The first is this Wednesday at the Cool Center in Battle Creek from 6 p.m. to 7:30. And then the second one will be in Albion on the 14th, the same time, 6 to 7:30. We're giving a presentation to the community and answering questions that people may have regarding the new authority and the rollout of new services. And we'll also have some vehicles on display that have already been wrapped that people can see, touch, feel, and a chance to one-on-one with the board members and get their questions answered. So I welcome you all.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Anyone else wishing to address council this evening on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Siobhan Milne, North Marshall Avenue. On September 19th at 06:35, I was at the crosswalk from the fountain to the sidewalk by the Kellogg Community Federal Credit Union. When I was crossing from the fountain, there was no one coming. And as I was about halfway through, I saw some lights coming and they were not slowing down. They did not yield to merge onto the fountain. I had to jump back and slam my hands on their hood to tell them to stop. It's not safe at all. I have friends who have been in the hospital because they were actually hit at the fountain. If you go to Ann Arbor, Michigan, Lansing, any of the campuses, they have buttons that you push when people need to cross and it flashes the lights to alert the people to stop for pedestrians. I have seen so many people not stop at all. Families trying to cross, see all the skeletons and everything that we have in town, and they can't get crossed because no one will stop. Also, I wanted to address the trash and stuff like that. I do walk every single morning, and when I walked Sunday after the Skeleton Fest, I was very disappointed to see 5 trash cans overflowed with trash. I'm glad it was all picked up. Great, everybody had a good time. But even if it was changed at 10, 11 o'clock at night, it wouldn't have been overflowed when people were done at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I think that maybe next year for Skeleton Fest or any event that we have in town, to have our workers or people who are putting those on to make sure to clean up so that when people are coming in with their families on Sunday to see all the skeletons that were out there, they don't have to see overflowed trash cans of alcohol and everything else that was in town. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council on a non-agenda item? Yes, sir.
My name's Lee Sherman, and I may have been misinformed, but they said something that was like on Facebook that they were gonna have a new rule about people not being able to have boats, campers, or trailers of any kind in their driveways or lawns. Is that correct? Anybody heard anything about that?
There's currently in your zoning ordinance, restrictions on where you can park campers. And there's been some active enforcement, so that may be why you're seeing some social media activity related to that. But there's been a rule in place since I believe the zoning ordinance was adopted in 2016.
Does it say that you can't park your own stuff in your own yard?
So it's very specific about where you can locate your recreational vehicles. They need to be located in the backyard. They need to be screened. They need to be so many feet away from the property lines. It's an extensive section of the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that brings up one other point. I was under the impression there's supposed to be no parking, like cars close to the road. Down just past the Edward Jones building, there's been a van parked, on this side of the road that makes it so that when you pull up to the road there by the Edward Jones, you can't see oncoming traffic at all. It's a big van and it's been parked there for weeks. And it's a real traffic hazard. And they've got a driveway. I don't know why they don't park up in their driveway. Aren't they supposed to park like closer to their houses so they're not blocking the view? I don't know.
That would be what we'd have to investigate because I'm not sure of that particular instance.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other, anyone else wishing to address council on non-agenda items? Seeing none, that moves us to item 15, council and manager communications. Member Skibby?
Yeah, so one note I'd like to make, just for people here and council and manager. We had an issue with some electrical lines back in the summer. A truck hit a pole. We called the city just a couple weeks ago. They came out and they parked. They were great. They had little cars that said Marshall on it, little like, bucket trucks and a book with a Marshall sticker on it. And my kids, I work in hospitality, so I expect, restaurants to do cool things like that. And even, it's not surprising when the police have stickers and stuff, but even our electric workers took time, to leave their truck to come up, knock on the door, say hi to the kids, give them a little toy. So the city of hospitality, even our electric workers, showed some cool hospitality. Just a great story I wanted to share because it makes me happy to raise a family in Marshall when we, take extra steps like that.
Thank you. Member Gates?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Member Heckworth?
It's just been very eventful fall. I've loved seeing the increase of decorations and the increase of people downtown, which has been very nice to see. And I think that with that, at some point in time, it would be kind of nice to look at what if we were able to drive our golf carts through town to see all these wonderful decorations. Obviously not on the main street, but in some of the neighborhoods.
Well played. Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Trey. Member Underhill?
Nothing tonight.
Member Cheney Huggett?
We had airport board meeting today, and I wanted to let everyone know that October 11th is their last meal for this season. It's a chili lunch and chili and hot dog. It will be from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. and come on out and enjoy the flight out, drive out, walk out, enjoy the airport. It's a lot of fun out there. They're really doing some really cool things. So, also, today I had my cross connection inspection and I was like so amped up about it. The guy was really nice. He introduced himself, showed me his badge. He did his thing. 10 minutes, he was gone, and I was all hyped up for nothing. So just wanted to report that it really wasn't as bad as what we expected or thought it could be.
Thank you, Manager Perry.
I'll just piggyback off Councilmember Skibby's note there about the electric utility. This is Public Power Week. We are a, municipal power supply. There's only 40 communities in the state of Michigan, and we happen to be one of those. And I would encourage folks to attend the open house that we have this Wednesday, October 8th, from 2 to 6 p.m. That's at our Public Services Building. That's 900 South Marshall, where you can get a bucket truck ride, you get demos on pole climbing, they'll have electric safety demos, and if you're hungry, they'll have some hot dogs and popcorn for you too. So just encourage everyone really to attend that and see all the value you really have by having your own electric utility.
Thank you.
That's Wednesday, October 8th, from 2 to 6 p.m.
Clerk Eubank.
Nothing from being tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'll echo the Skeleton Fest turnout, especially that opening weekend was really phenomenal. I've heard from several businesses downtown that just where they had some record sales over that 3-day period. So that continues to be just a really terrific event. I know when they first kicked off that event, they had an actual like kickoff event with down in the parking lot next to the post office, and now that they're getting some better attendance, maybe possibly looking at bringing that back where we can have a more of a focused event to kick it off. So and obviously the Witches Walk was extremely successful also that weekend. We've got the Bewitched Ball coming up at East End that everyone is definitely invited to. Unfortunately, I do have some sad news to share. I was informed this weekend that one of our 911 dispatchers, Larissa Griffith, passed away unexpected. She was an 18-year veteran of Calhoun 911, and she was recognized as a training officer of the year in 2012. She was quite respected and loved by her coworkers and fellow 911 operators. So my thoughts and prayers for her and her family, and hopefully, anyway. With that, I will seek a motion regarding item 16.
I move that city council meet in closed session under section 8E of the Open Meetings Act to consult with our city attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with the Committee for Marshall, Not the Megasite versus City of Marshall and Michelle Eubank, case number COA 369603 SC 167553, because open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the public body.
You have a motion, do I have support?
Support.
And roll call?
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Underhill,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member
Yes.
and Member Skibby.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are in closed session. We will return to adjourn the meeting after we're done. We are returning from closed session at exactly 9 p.m. And the only issue left, or the only item left on our agenda is an adjournment. I would seek a motion regarding adjournment.
So move.
Support.
A motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.